Hi Nigel, I don't know, you're never happy, are you? You're currently over on Elon's ego site, moaning because the Express hasn't given you enough attention. But I think that there's some things that we need to look at, because there are a lot of claims being made that aren't quite true. And that's not to take away from what you've achieved last week, but maybe we should start dealing in facts. I mean, the way the media are spinning this, it's almost like you've got a stranglehold on the political scene in the UK. Whereas the chart above shows Reform, in the big scheme of things, is kind of doing all right. But it is in fifth place at the moment, behind the Greens, and very much behind the Lib Dems, who had a brilliant day on Thursday. But I'm confused why we're not hearing more about them, especially given how close they are to the Tories in the House of Commons, whereas Reform are very much a poor relation. But going back to this idea that you broke the two-party stranglehold, even though it's clear for everybody to see it's been a three-party system for a while, I'm old enough to remember when everybody was saying the same about UKIP. When they had, I think it was about 500 councillors, they had the largest majority of British MEPs, and they had, albeit, one MP. A little bit like Reform, really. UKIP was a protest party designed to put pressure on the Tories, and it worked because they ended up going into a pact with you, which I guess is where we're going to head with this current situation with Reform and the Tories. And that pact led us to Brexit. So it didn't actually work out that well for the country. But that's okay, because as soon as you realised that, you quickly formed the Brexit Party, ready to try to make out that you would have done things very differently, even though there was never going to be a good Brexit. And that also brings me to the fact the narrative at the moment is that Reform is some brand new party, but it's been around for years. It was just called something else. But it's interesting that Ed Davey doesn't put posts out like this, even though he's actually closer to number 10 than you, in terms of numbers. It's funny, isn't it? Because the right-wing media don't seem to promote him half as much as they promote you. But I guess you want everybody talking about you, so I hope I've contributed to your ego today. All right, good chats, as you were.